Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, November 14th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring you some of the names that we're watching, names that are on our watch list that are holding up well, strong technical candidates that are showing some relative strength and ideally are not yet overextended or very much in focus across the market. So as always, these videos are powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We curate ideas from their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video below. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time watching these videos, I just want to remind everyone that all of the ideas that we surface here on these videos are individual stocks or ETFs, but they're always on the long side. So we're not looking at short plays here. Everything that we look at here in terms of relative strength is on the long side. So in a day like today, when the market's getting pummeled, it's actually even a better day to sort of curate relative strength lists and just keep a watch list of what is holding up well and working. Nothing is certainly advocated to be jumping in today as the action day. These are all names to certainly pay attention to. So let's jump into it. First name comes from my watch list here. This is Denny's, D-E-N-N. I think the pattern here really speaks to itself. Really clean, pretty looking pattern here. Not too many of these out there right now in this type of environment. The long ideas that are working right now pretty much fall into, from what I'm seeing, restaurants, airlines, and generally speaking, consumer staples. That's essentially what has been and real estate investment trust. Those are essentially the four broad categories of stocks that are showing up on my scans right now. So Denny's first one here, you had this nice move higher over, I believe this was earnings just the last week or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and then it had this nice high tight consolidation, and now it's breaking out again today. MACD still hanging up here near highs. Really like it for just a continuation kind of bull flag trade. I think that one's pretty good looking. HLF, this is number 2 here. Herbalife, haven't looked at this in a while, but this one's got a pretty interesting pattern here. I think the weekly setup is actually more interesting. Take a look at the consolidation here right under its highs. It did top out around $60. You can see it has pulled back since topping out in August, and it's really just tight, taking its time, and it's pretty neat here and orderly. You kind of have this little flat horizontal level that it's working up against right now. Call it $56, just under $56. If we can start to launch through there on volume, that's a pretty interesting looking setup to me. This is a weekly chart, so remember that, but you can certainly refine over just these recent highs here. So that was number 2. That's again from my watch list. Number 3, DRI. So again, another restaurants play here. This one, you got to kind of look a little bit closely here. What I like about this is it did find support here at this $100.03 area over the course of October. So the market was sort of melting down, and I mean, of course, this had the pullback kind of ahead of the market, if you will, just a little bit, maybe semi in concert with it, but it did find support here, and it got this nice high volume thrust off of these levels. So take a look at the volume that's come up for a move to take out these highs here around 110, and now it's starting to flag back out. So what I'd be looking for is sort of a stabilization here, a higher low, if you will, to see if buyers can still step back in. If this just rolls over, then really not that interesting right now, but something to pay attention to. Nice volume off of these recent lows. Finally, for my watch list, PBH. So here is one that really is in a longer term tougher play here, but it has stabilized throughout January, trying to get its act together this year, and it did recently clear above this 39.60 area. This is where we found resistance over the course of really July, August, September, October. We had this nice breakout, and now it's sort of fumbling back down below this area. So for me, I'd be looking to see if this could reclaim this quickly back above $40. That's the ideal place for PBH if this is going to resume its uptrend and take all this supply to a higher level. Looking back here at maybe the year-to-date highs around $46, that's quite a ways away and would take some time, but that's the kind of move I would be looking for here if this can start to reclaim 40 and start to act well again. So those are the 4 from my name. Let's take a look at stock lists from Investors Business Daily. The first is NXT. So this one here, broadcasting play, really like just the clear resistance here coming in right around $84. You could kind of cheat depending on where you want to put that exactly. But if we look here at the weekly chart, you can see really almost topped out here in January, had a bigger pullback, ran up to it, briefly eclipsed it, but then essentially has found resistance pretty firmly between that $83 and $84 area. So for me, again, nice relative strength play, has pushed off of these lows here. It's now back to these recent highs, so I'd be watching that. And finally, from IBD, this is the same one we highlighted last week. This is Paycom, but I wanted to sneak it in here again because it's just even tighter, and still watching to see which way this breaks. This could be bullish, bearish, depending on what your opinion is here on the market or this sector or technology or Paycom specifically. But what we have here is this pullback from October, which has led to some pretty firming action just over this 120 level, but we really haven't been able to get any movement above it. It's really getting price compressed here, or price is getting compressed here between this 120 and now call it 125, 126 area. So if you're looking for a gap fill, watch these lows here for a breakdown. If you think that this will ultimately break to the upside, which was originally my inclination, but a little more dicey now. It's pretty hard to tell. I still think this is an interesting name with just some price compression here, looking for that breakout. So that is it. That is what I have for today's this week's video. Hopefully you guys are doing well out there, and thanks so much as always for tuning in and watching these videos. I'll be back next week on Wednesday with the Trade Ideas video. Thanks so much.